Shalom, welcome back to Faith Before Steps. First off, let me give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and time taste to all the brothers and sisters that's in the truth and steady coming in. Shalom. I basically wanted to go into idol worship and basically give an account on the Babylonians and the idol that they was worshiping, which was a dragon that they called Baal. And during this time, Daniel was coming against the kingdom of Babylonians, and he was bringing down their stronghold, which was that idol, which was Baal. And in this lesson, I basically want to show the point that there is no power in these idols that these people worship. If it's not of Yahweh Shema Shah, then it is of no good. So hopefully after this lesson you'll be edified. This is the book of Baal and the Dragon. Starting at the top, verse 1. And King Astyages was gathered to his father, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. So Daniel had a high stature. He was honored among all the people that was camped around him. He was honored among all the people that was in the nation during that time. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Baal, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. So the Babylonians had an idol that they was worshiping every day, and that they would feed and give drink to every day. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. And the king was highly favored of this idol. But Daniel worshipped his own power. But Daniel worshipped the Heavenly Father Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. And the king said unto him, Why doest not thou worship Baal? So the king asked Daniel, why don't he worship Baal? And this is what Daniel replied, who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power who had created heaven and the earth, and had saturated and sovereignty tonight, Salaki, over all flesh. Then the king said unto him, Thinkest thou not that Baal is a living power, seeing thou how much he eateth and drinketh every day? So the king in his foolishness, trying to persuade Daniel that this idol is real, trying to persuade Daniel that this idol is a living God, when Daniel knows that this idol is made of brass and clay. Then said the king unto him, then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. And Daniel turned to open the king's eyes, but the king is still blind, because he adored this idol. He loved this idol. He put all his hope and his faith in this idol. Verse 8 says, So the king was wroth. So the king got mad, and called to his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die, for he has spoken blasphemy against Baal. And blasphemy mean like a loud, a dirty, filthy act. It's like, so it basically trying to say that Daniel was committing lies against this idol. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of Baal with 70, besides their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Baal. So Daniel and the king is going inside the temple. So Baal priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast and seal it with thy own signet. So he's telling the king to seal the door with his own signet, so nobody can come in. And tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Baal had eaten up all, we will surely dead. Or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. So they're basically giving the king an ultimatum. They're basically saying that if you come back and it's still food on the in here, that Daniel and Daniel telling the truth. But if you come back and it ain't no food, then we telling the truth and Daniel telling a lie. So basically, they basically still trying to deceive the king. And they literally regarded for under the table they had made a prairie entrance, which is a small entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So when they were gone forth, the king set meat before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes in those days strewed through the temple. So so basically Daniel was telling them to bring ashes so they can spread around the whole kingdom. So if anything was to come in, they was to get footprints. Daniel had commanded servants to bring ashes, and those days they strewed it throughout all the king. Throughout all the temple, in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the doors, and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. In the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. So the king's signet was still intact. It was never broken. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Baal, and with thee is no deceit at all. So the king started praising Baal because the food was gone. Then laughed Daniel. So Daniel started laughing at him, and held the king that he should not go in, and said, Behold now the pavement, and marked well whose footsteps are these. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry. So now the king starting to see that this idol was fake, and it was really the priest and them that was sneaking in and stealing the food. Verse 21 say, and took the priests and their wives and children who showed him the prairie door, where they came in and consumed such things as upon the table. Therefore the king slew them and delivered Baal into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. And because there was no power in that idol, there was no power in what they was believing. Daniel was the only one who was believing in that true power, which is Yahweh Shema Shah, not these other idols. And in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, which thou also say that this is of brass, lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou cannot say that he is no living God, therefore worship him. So they bring a real dragon, a real live dragon, up to Daniel, and they trying to get Daniel to worship it. So let's see what Daniel say to him about their idols. Then said Daniel unto the king, I worship I worship the Lord of my power, for he is the living God. And yeah, because Yahweh Shema Shai is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. So he said he was going to slay the dragon without staff or sword. So let's see how Daniel was going to slay this dragon. Then Daniel took pitch, fat, and hair, and did sieve them together. So he rolled up pitch, which is like tar, fat, and hair, and rolled it up all into one, and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, lo, these are gods you worship. So Daniel was making fun of them, because the idols that these people was worshiping, just like today, the idols that these people worship have no power in them, and it only creates more wickedness. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, the king is become of Lee, and he had destroyed Baal. He had slain the dragon and put the priest to death. So the people the people was inquiring Daniel's head at this time. And say so they came to the king and said, deliver us Daniel, or else we will destroy thee and thy house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. So they put Daniel inside of a lion's den because he killed their idol. Now, that's just like today. I mean, they don't cast us into lion dens, but they cast us into prison houses. They take your kids. They do all type of wicked acts. And sometimes they do more than that. Sometimes they'll hide you and kill you and just cut your body up and just sell your organs. And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep. When they were not given to them the intent that they might devour Daniel. So they put Daniel in the lion's den, thinking that the intent that the lions was going to destroy Daniel. But let's see what happened. Now there was in Lurie a prophet called Habakkuk. The same Habakkuk, remember? And say, who had made pottage and had broken bread in the bowl, and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the heavenly Father, Yahweh Shema Shai, said unto Habakkuk, go carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. So the angels required Habakkuk to go take Daniel something to eat. And this is what Habakkuk said. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never seen I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the heavenly of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah took him by the crown, so he grabbed him by the hair and buried him and buried him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemence of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, take the dinner which the Most High has sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O Heavenly Father Yahweh, neither hast thou forsaken them that seeketh thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angels of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. So these lions haven't ate in 7 days, and Habakkuk come bring Daniel a plate, and Daniel eating in front of the lions, and the lions ain't devouring him. That spirit, man. That's gonna be the type of spirit we gonna have on us, man. Type of vibration we gonna have on us, man. When Yahweh Shah come back, man, we gonna be totally protected, man. You gotta have faith. Upon the 7th day, the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried to the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art thou, O Lord, great God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. And he drew him out and cast those that were caused in the destruction into the den, and they were devoured at a moment before his face. And yeah, and so soon Daniel came out of this lion den, and the king praised Yahweh Shema Shah for that act, and seeing that the lion did not devour Daniel. So he really was more persuaded by the approach and by the spirit and by witnessing this. So he threw the people that was causing the destruction and that was causing that was coming against Daniel into the lion's den, and they got ate up in seconds. So it just goes to show you, man, these idols have no power in them, man. If it's not of Yahweh Shema Shah, it will come to naught. So, Lord, when you've been edified, this has been Bell and the Dragon. You know, that's the horn blowing, you know, that's a warning. So, shalom until next time.